Hello, my friends. It's me, Karen Valentine, and I am here today to do a tutorial that I have been wanting to do for a while, and it's something that I think everyone can benefit from in some way or another. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it, and that is how to manipulate, remove, make thinner, lighten the lines in your PDF coloring pages before you print them. And I'm going to be showing you a few different methods. One of them is with Photoshop Elements. And then there's a couple of other free apps that I'm going to show you after that. So yeah, let's get started. I'm excited. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to make the lines on your PDF thinner. One of the reasons that I don't like to use true line art is because so often the lines that are used to create it are so heavy that I am not able to create a realistic coloring. And I personally love to try and make my colorings look as realistic as possible. So I don't want the heavy dark lines going all over the piece. And there's certain places where that is particularly true, in the faces especially, or, you know, like right here, it's quite thick. Here it's quite thick. There's quite a few areas on here. So this is the page by Selena Fennick. And I'm going to show you now how to make the line skinnier. This was like a game changer for me. I just discovered this recently, and it was like the skies opened up and the angels started singing. So I wanted to share it. So what you're going to do is you're going to obviously have your Photoshop program open, and you're going to go up to the top where it says filter, and you're going to come down to other, and then maximum. And what that does is it makes the radius, the maximum radius on the pixels 1 pixel. Now this is the preview, but it actually, I discovered it doesn't get quite that light. So actually, let me do this because I want to be able to show you the difference. So we're going to go File, Duplicate, okay. And then let's make this one the same. What is this, 28.61? We want to make it the same size, 28.61. And let's see, this has a lot of extra area that we don't need. And this one needs to be bigger. There we go. Okay, so there are the two images side by side, and let's change this one up. So you're going to go filter, other, maximum, and then hit OK. And you can already see a huge difference in the thickness of the lines on the page. And so that is just, it's just a beautiful thing. I wonder if we can do another one and see if that, see what that does. So we'll close this one out. Don't save. We'll close this one out. And let's see what, I don't have one already pulled up. So this is a Tanya Bond PDF. And actually, I kind of wanted to show you how to do this as well, how to open up a single image from a PDF. So we'll just, maybe we'll do that in a second. So, so here's a Tanya Bond image. See if we can make her a little bit bigger. Actually, let's go fit screen. Okay, so there she is, and we're going to go filter, other, maximum. and then hit OK. And so all the lines on her are thinner than they were before. And I just absolutely love that. So that's one cool little tidbit of information for you. The next thing I want to show you how to do here in Photoshop Elements is how to erase things about an image that you don't like. And it's so easy. So you just come over, it might be a little bit small there. I don't have the ability to zoom in with what I'm doing right now. I don't have a remote zoom. So you click your little eraser tool, and you can see it's turned into a little circle over here. And then let's say I want to make this line of her nose lighter. So I'm gonna, down here in the bottom, there's a slider for opacity. So you can kind of just slide that somewhere in the middle there. And as you rub, whoops, let's do this. Undo. Okay, it really doesn't matter, but for video purposes, we're gonna add another white layer underneath this one, so that when I go to erase, you won't see funky square lines. Okay, so now we're in the eraser tool, and we're just going to go over that nose, and it's already lighter. And every time you lift your mouse and put it back down again, it's going to lighten it again by the amount that you have chosen the opacity to be. So it's at 60% right now. And if we just keep going, we can lighten just some of these features on her face to where you can still see them when you print your page, which is important. But you won't have any harsh lines. So when you go to do those lips and that nose, you're going to get a much more realistic look on her face. You could also make the opacity 100%. So as I was looking at her headdress here, she's got these feathers, which are definitely feathers. And Tanya's very whimsical, and she does a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily know what it is. It's not necessarily something based in reality. It's just fun and whimsical. But I decided that I would like to do these feathers like the stripy feathers that I love to do. And so this stuff on the inside here just does not, it's not going to work. It's going to be a bother when I go to try and do what I want to do on that, on those quote unquote feathers. So my opacity is at 100% now, and I'm just going to come in and literally erase the part of the image that I don't like. And so when I print it and I go in to do what I want to do, there's nothing there that's going to hinder my creativity and let me do what I want to do on this page. And I just absolutely, I just love it. It's just awesome. So yeah. So that is that. I'm not going to bother saving that because well, no, you know what? Maybe I will. File, save as, Inklings 312. We're going to save it as a JPEG. I'm just going to write a little edit so I know that I've edited it, and we're going to save it in Inklings 1. That's the file it came from, as a JPEG, and hit save. And so now I have my version of that page in the file, ready for me to print and color. So this also comes in really handy when, let's see, we have, I think I closed that file. So Give me just a sec. Here we go. So it comes in handy for things like Ines Guerrero's work. Now, I adore the artwork of Ines Guerrero. However, I adore it with a caveat that her edition of some of the more gruesome aspects of life are just not me. So here is one of her images, and you know, it's just cool. There's neat mushrooms coming out of her head. She's got some leaves, some wonderful lacy details she always does. She's holding a crow. There's a kind of a castle city in the background. It's all fabulous until, for me personally, I get to the scar on her lip and the slash on her wrist. So what I would do is, after I purchase the PDF, I come into it, I come into it with, in Etsy, we're going to, let's see. So I want to make this easy for you guys. So instead of erasing, we may do a brush pencil. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. So since I clicked on the pencil, we'll start there. This is the little brush tool, and we want the color white. But just to be absolutely sure, we're going to use our color picker tool, and we're going to color pick the color of the background. Sometimes the backgrounds, you never know, sometimes they're not white. So that's a good thing to do. And then back to our brush. And so now what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to add a layer so that I don't mess up the original image if I do make a mistake. So that was just this little icon here, add a layer. And now I can come in with my white, make sure my opacity is all the way up. I can come in with my white brush, and I can just take our little witch, and now she's not a suicidal witch. She did scratch herself all up. And we're going to erase the scar on her lip. And I can even make this bigger if I want to, so that I can really see what I'm doing. We'll shrink the size of the brush down. Maybe shrink the size of the brush down a little bit more. I don't know what that is. Sometimes she does some really dark, heavy shading under the eyes or whatever, like right here. Here's a perfect example. So she's got this shading going on right here. And I want to be able to shade it how I want to shade it. So I'm just going to come in and erase some of that. You can also do that where your opacity is a little bit less, so that it's a softer erase. It's not a hard erase, if that makes sense. And every time you pick up your mouse, I use a Wacom pen, which I can't imagine using anything else. But every time you pick it up and put it back down again, it redoes the eraser. So if you have it on, you know, like 50% opacity, you can erase, go back and erase some more, and it just takes it off in layers how you would like. So I kind of like doing it that way instead of a hard erase, because it allows for a softer transition. And then that is it. We're going to make it fit back on the screen, fit screen. So now our witch no longer has a scar on her lip. she no longer has a cut on her arm, and we can go ahead and save that image. File, save as. We're going to save it as a JPEG. It doesn't need to be called copy. And I'll just save it in the same file that it was in before. That's fine. Oh, we already have a copy. No wonder. So we're going to call that copy edit. Close enough. So that is how I use Photoshop Elements to alter my PDF coloring pages before printing to get them the way I want them. You know, one other thing I want to show you, which is really nice, and that is good for really dark grayscale. Let's see, I think I have some, oh yeah, here's a good example. So here we have, well, let's do this one. So this is, whoops, sorry guys. I seem to be having a hard time. Okay, so here is one from Nellie Shoemaker, who I am currently obsessed with, but it's quite dark. It's quite dark grayscale, but it doesn't have to be. You can go into Photoshop and click Enhance and adjust color, and then color variations, and you can lighten it as many degrees as you want. And now you have a much lighter grayscale image to be able to print and color. And I personally use that all the time, because truly I want a little more creative freedom. I love the grayscale, but I want it to be lighter than what it is often provided to us as. And so it's another way that I use my Photoshop Elements pre-printing to alter my pages. So that is my little tutorial on how I use Photoshop Elements. If you don't have Photoshop Elements, that's okay. I've got a couple more things to show you in this video, so I will be back in a flash. Alrighty, so that was Photoshop Elements, and that's my favorite way of altering the images before I print them. It's a super program, and it's only, I don't remember if I told you this or not, but it's only like $99. However, not everybody wants to spend $99 on a program like that, and not everybody has it already. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can do this that are completely free. So I have an iPad and an iPhone. I don't know about Android. I would imagine that you would be able to do the same thing with an Android, because the first thing that I'm going to do is just edit it in the built-in photo editing software. So the first thing that we're going to do is pick an image. This one is by Selena Fennick. And when we click on edit, our software pops up. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can really see what's happening. So if we click on the little exposure button, and then we slide that slider all the way to the very top, it lightens the entire page. The lines look thinner, lighter. You still have the darkness. It's not like it completely turns into super light gray. But especially, I don't know if you can see this little bit of typing that Selena has on her free pages. But when I slide that exposure thing, it just completely goes away because it lightens everything and makes the lines a lot thinner. So I'm going to just kind of, so you can see the difference, let's duplicate that photo. Then we have two of them. So that one is the original. That one we're going to edit. And we're going to hit the exposure button, slide that all the way to the very top, and hit done. And now you can see the difference between the two images. It's not, you know, humongous, but it is enough to lighten those lines and make it a little bit more, in my opinion, user-friendly when it comes to coloring the page. So let's just, for giggles, let's just do another one. So if we click edit and the little exposure and slide that up, it lightens that page a good amount, which is really a wonderful thing. And that is completely, that just comes with your device. So you could do that probably on any page. I should probably try it on a grayscale page, but I don't think I have any grayscale pages on here right now. Maybe let's see what happens if we do this one. This one is by Linda Ravenscroft, whom I love. And this is going to be an experiment because I didn't think to try this. So we're going to hit edit and exposure. And sure enough, that obviously is too much, but if you wanted a little bit lighter of a grayscale from this to that, you absolutely could do that just with your exposure button before you print the image. So yay, what a great tool. All right, so the next thing I want to show you on here is, it's a program called Light Removal. And basically what it does is it allows you to remove lines from your pages. Now it's not as precise and as perfect of a tool as Photoshop Elements, but if you don't have Photoshop Elements, this is free, and you can play around until you get what you want. Now this one doesn't lighten the image like some of the other things that we've done. It actually removes the lines. So let's say, for example, you wanted to remove this line of cat hair, just for the sake of something to do. There are two different choices: remove object and remove line. And really, I found the only difference is remove object gives you a bigger brush to play with, and the remove line, you have tinier choices. That's the only difference. So because there's so much white space around that line, I'm going to go ahead and choose the remove object. And then all you do is take your finger or your little stylus thingy and drag that green line, and I don't know if you can see, I'll have to move it. Drag that green line right over the top, and there you go. So just clean it up a little bit more, and presto, lines are gone. We can do the same thing. Let's see, what do we want to do? If we wanted to, all right, let's just say, for example, you want to make her look realistic, and that heavy dark jawline is just too heavy. Now we're not going to be able to lighten it, and we're not going to be able to make it skinnier, but we can remove it, because really I think everybody is probably capable of drawing a thin line, and all I'm doing right now is tapping to kind of refine the. So yeah, she looks funny now, but once you take a pencil and just draw a thin line in to connect the two, you now have a much much more of a possibility of making her look realistic, because there's not that heavy dark jawline. And I mean, you could probably do that. Yeah, that worked, because that's a hairline. Whoops. Anyway, so sometimes it's, oh, I did want to go back. Let's go back. Whoops. That's not what we wanted. Okay. Commercials, photo, recents. Let's see. Is this, I think that's the thin version that we did of her that we altered in our thingamajigger. So anyway, that's kind of, that's kind of where we're at. So you can remove, let's see, I can probably use my finger because not everybody has one of those thingies. And it shows up as you do it. You can see it gives you a little bit of a circle to show you what you're doing, because your finger most likely is going to cover up. So you can't really see what you're doing, but here you can see what's happening. But that's an example of it not being precise, because what it does is it takes the things that are around it to remove it. So sometimes it takes a little finessing to kind of get it to where you want to be. But, it's free. So, so those are the two apps. Again, this one is called, what is this one called? Oh, this one is called Light Removal. And you can get that in the App Store. And then the very last way that I have to show you is extremely low tech. And that is basically a good, strong electric pencil eraser. And this works best on smooth cardstock. I tested it on colored pencil paper, and I tested it on toned tan paper, and I think those papers have just a little bit too much tooth, and they really are wanting to grab the ink, so it doesn't work very well on those. But if you use a smooth cardstock like I do, this is a really pretty good way to lighten the lines. So as you can see, boom. Just like that. And they're light, but they're not gone to where I can't see where the lines are supposed to be. And so this is a great way if you don't have the ability to do it pre-printing. So that is it. Those are my ways of lightening my lines on my PDF coloring pages. I hope you learned something and can use that to further your artistic creations in coloring books. If you are watching this video and my channel for the first time, please check out some of my other videos. I do a lot of color alongs and kind of, I'm going to call it a color along / tutorial in real time. And hit that subscribe button, those like buttons, they always help. So thanks so much. You guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you all on the next video. Thanks. Bye.